For many of us, the aurora is just a natural wonder at the edge of the world. But behind that tranquil beauty lies a colossal, devastating power capable of creating the most extreme storms in our solar system. A power that, if we fail to understand and respect it, has the potential to cripple our modern civilization. This is why scientists all around the world are deeply concerned about a repeat of the Carrington Event. But what exactly was the Carrington Event? And why can an incident from the 19th century still cause us so much fear in the 21st? I'm Daniel Avon. Let's test how much we really understand about the sun. You're watching. Let's dive into the mystery and the hidden power of the sun. To understand solar storms, we must first understand the star itself. Our sun is a colossal ball of plasma, far hotter than anything we can imagine on Earth. In its core, nuclear fusion turns hydrogen into helium, releasing an immense amount of energy that travels outward through its layers. We live under its constant blanket of heat. In the sun's outermost layer, particularly a region called the photosphere, we can see dark spots known as sunspots. These spots are actually cooler areas, thousands of degrees cooler than their surroundings, and that's due to incredibly powerful magnetic fields. These magnetic fields, created by the movement of plasma below the surface, are so strong that they inhibit the flow of heat from the sun's interior, making those areas appear dark. The problem is, the complex magnetic fields around these sunspots aren't static. They constantly move, twist, and stretch under immense energy, much like giant rubber bands being pulled to their breaking point. When that tension can no longer be contained, these magnetic rubber bands snap explosively, releasing stored energy in a powerful burst we call a solar flare. This eruption unleashes an intense burst of electromagnetic radiation, from light to X-rays and ultraviolet, that zips across space at the speed of light. This radiation reaches Earth in just about 8 minutes, potentially disrupting high-frequency radio communications and our GPS signals. But the bigger and true threat comes from a phenomenon that often accompanies solar flares, a coronal mass ejection, or CME. Think of a CME as a giant cosmic cannonball. It's a massive burst of billions of tons of charged plasma, consisting of subatomic particles like electrons and protons hurled out from the sun's outer atmosphere. If this massive ejection happens to be aimed directly at Earth, it can reach our planet in 1 to 3 days. And when this shock wave of highly energetic particles slams into Earth's protective magnetic field, that's the beginning of a geomagnetic storm. This is the storm that can trigger serious problems, from damaging satellites in orbit to causing power surges on electrical grids on the ground, potentially leading to widespread blackouts. This is the unseen threat we constantly monitor from millions of miles away. In 1859, the world was a very different place. The power grid didn't exist. The internet was a science fiction concept, and GPS was unimaginable. The impact of the Carrington event at that time, while significant, it overloaded telegraph systems and triggered stunning auroras around the globe, was a mere disruption compared to the potential devastation we face today with our hyper-reliant technological civilization. When a particularly powerful CME slams into Earth's magnetic field, its impact is like a cosmic sledgehammer hitting a giant gong. This collision causes massive and rapid fluctuations in our planet's protective magnetic field. These fluctuations, in turn, induce additional electrical currents in long conductors on Earth's surface, like our extensive electrical grids, oil and gas pipelines, and even railway lines. These road currents are known as GICs, or geomagnetically induced currents. And this is why we are so concerned. The high-voltage transformers at the very heart of our electrical grids are the main victims of GICs. These transformers are designed to operate on a specific alternating current, or AC, frequency. However, GICs are DC, that disrupts the transformer's normal operation, causing them to dangerously overheat, melt, and fail. They are the Achilles heel of our modern power infrastructure. Imagine millions of transformers across an entire continent failing simultaneously. This wouldn't be a simple blackout. It would be a total grid collapse that could take months or even years to repair. If a Carrington-scale solar storm were to hit Earth today, the worst-case scenario is a continental-scale power grid collapse that can last for weeks, months, or even years in some regions. We're not just talking about the lights going out. We're talking about total chaos. Without power, almost everything we take for granted would cease to function. Water and sanitation, communication, transportation, banking and the economy, supply chains. Hospitals couldn't operate at full capacity. Beyond that, our thousands of satellites in orbit, the eyes and ears of our modern technology, are vulnerable to the radiation and currents caused by the storm. Navigation, communication, and weather satellites could die out completely, turning them into expensive space junk. This risk is real, and the potential damage far exceeds traditional natural disasters as it threatens the very foundation of almost every aspect of modern society. Imagine if in an instant, the entire world went dark, not just your city, but the entire planet. The internet vanishes, communication breaks down, navigation is crippled. This isn't science fiction. This is a real threat from a colossal power, our own sun. This threat is known as a massive geomagnetic storm, a furious blast of energy from the sun, capable of crippling modern civilization and plunging us back into the Dark Ages. But in the face of this cosmic threat, we are not standing by. We are fighting back. Across the globe, a front line has formed. They are the best scientists and engineers from the world's space agencies. They aren't just observers, they are the architects of our planetary defense. Day and night, they dedicate their lives to monitoring every tremor of the star. With data from high-precision satellites and cutting-edge predictive models, they turn uncertainty into an early warning. They are our global alert system, giving us precious time to protect our power grids and vital satellites. Through an advanced fleet of satellites constantly orbiting the sun, we have tireless eyes in space. Satellites like the Solar Dynamics Observatory, SDO, observing the sun in various wavelengths of light, as well as the Parker Solar Probe and Solar Orbiter, bravely flying closer to the sun than any spacecraft before, provide a non-stop view of its surface activity.
Every time you use GPS, stream a movie, or flip a light switch, you're plugged into an invisible, vulnerable network. Far out in space, our protection against a threat that could cripple it all begins here. Revolutionary missions like the Solar Dynamics Observatory ceaselessly observe every solar fluctuation. Furthermore, the Parker Solar Probe and Solar Orbiter embark on unprecedented journeys, flying closer to the Sun than any spacecraft in history. This crucial data detects massive energy releases, giving us an early warning. Why is this vital? A storm as powerful as the 1859 Carrington Event, if it struck today, could cripple the global internet and power grids. That warning, hours or even days in advance, is our precious time to protect modern civilization. In this powerful universe, Earth may seem fragile, but through our ingenuity and our eyes in the sky, we are no longer blind. Understanding is our strongest shield against the cosmic storm. They are able to detect solar flares and coronal mass ejection, CME, as they happen, giving us a precious window of warning, typically between 12 to 72 hours before the burst of charged particles slams into Earth's magnetic field. This time is everything, as it allows us to prepare. With this warning, power grid operators worldwide can detect solar flares and coronal mass ejections, or CME, as they happen, such as temporarily shutting down the most vulnerable transformers or redirecting power loads to prevent damage. The satellite industry can put their thousands of satellites into safe mode to minimize radiation exposure, protecting multi-billion-dollar investments. Even airlines can reroute polar flights to avoid dangerous radiation doses for passengers and crew. However, it's crucial to emphasize that these are only temporary solutions. These mitigation steps do not prevent the storm itself, but rather just lessen its impact. True long-term defense requires significant investment in infrastructure and technology, a global challenge that we are still facing. Long-term solutions involve significant investment in more resilient infrastructure. This includes strengthening transformers with improved grounding systems, or developing transformers that are more resistant to geomagnetically induced currents, GICs. Some countries and companies are also starting to consider building strategic reserves of transformers and other critical components. Our connection to the cosmos. The threat of solar storms is a clear reminder that we, despite appearing highly advanced, are still closely connected to the cosmos. We live under the influence of a dynamic star, and understanding and respecting its power are key to our survival. The Carrington Event is a warning from the past, and we cannot ignore it. Science continues to unravel the mysteries of the sun, providing us with the tools and time to prepare. The challenge now lies with us. Will we use this knowledge to protect our civilization? Or will we allow a perfect solar storm to cripple our modern world? The answer is in our hands.